It's funny. I get asked all the time, were there any good years? And if this is the first time seeing me again, I was married for 25 years. And unfortunately, my wife passed away from alcohol use disorder about 5.5 years ago. And the thing is, it's very understandable because I really only talk about the last 6, 7, 8 years of her life, which were absolutely abysmal. And unfortunately, she went to 7 rehabs. She had 4 DUIs. She was incarcerated. And it was really a lot of mayhem the last few years, which is very stressful for families. But it's also the point of the page. On that note, we met, we were the best of friends. We were married for 25 years, and I would have to say there's probably 18 to 20 of those years were very good years. It was just the last few. We met at a company called FHP. We were both insurance agents at the time, and that's where we met. She was a top salesman there. I had started there about 3 years before her, and if you've had a chance to read the memoir, I kind of go over a lot of this, the early years, which are important. And some of our friends kind of, got us together. She was friends with a mutual friend of mine, and we just kind of started double dating, and we just became friends that way through work. It's really one of the best ways to meet somebody. We had a lot of things in common. Obviously, insurance and work, and just how it worked. One of our first dates was getting my dog. In fact, that's one of the reasons why we started to get together. She was an animal lover. She had a dog, and I had just bought a new house, and I went to get the puppy on a Saturday, and I already picked him out, and I asked her if she wanted to come along. It was like, oh my God, go get a puppy. It was just, if you knew her, it was like the greatest thing that you could ask her to do is, let's go get a puppy. And it all started from there, and we became the best of friends, and then obviously a lot more. I think we were together for about a year, maybe year and a half, 8 months before we got married. We got married in August of '94. Wonderful wedding. We got married in her parents' backyard. They had a huge backyard. We had about 100 people, 100 people there. And we did our honeymoon. We went to England. We went to London, all the way up to Edinburgh, drove all over England. We were there about 3 weeks, and it was just a wonderful start to what was really a wonderful marriage for many, many years. I'm really making this kind of different video because, so many people ask me, did you love her? Do you have so much, remorse for her? Or you have so much anger for her? And no, that's not what it's all about. It's about the stress and the anxiety that family goes through. And this is a natural process of this disease, unfortunately, unless you talk about it and expose it and are transparent. Certainly her last few years, it doesn't help anybody. That just answers really everything that anybody doesn't understand it. And I get comments all the time, well, what does her family think about you writing this book and talking about this story all the time? Well, unfortunately, her father passed away 3 months after she did, and her mother followed the following year. She has some other siblings and cousins or nieces, and they support it. They both read the book. They think it's wonderful. They think it's wonderful what I'm doing. It's unfortunate because most of my family died in 2020. Amanda died in February of 2020. My father died a month after that. Her father died 2 months of that on Cinco de Mayo, and then her mother followed 10 months after that. So most of my family in California was gone within a year and a half. Very, very difficult times, certainly during the period of COVID. We were a very tight-knit family. Amanda was a very kind, bubbly, outgoing person. That's one of the reasons why she was a top salesperson. People just loved her. She'd walk into somebody's house, and I don't know how she even did it because she would just sit there and talk to people about, stuff in their house and just carry on a conversation and be like, oh, by the way, let's get to this. And they'd sign here. She would just wrap people around her finger. That's just the way she was. She was a very charismatic, really wonderful person. This is why this is doubly tragic. That this happened to her and certainly to our family. She graduated from University of Santa Barbara, I think about 1985. My background, I have a degree in English literature and another one in American history. My father was a high school principal. He had a doctorate in administrative education, PhD, and he had a master's in education. and that his background was education. He taught in the upstate New York school system of West Genesee School District for the better part of about 45, 50 years. So, I mean, he had tens of thousands of kids underneath him. I think that's where a lot of my teaching background and my exposure and my attitude towards this comes from, because it's educational and it creates awareness, and that's really what I wanted to do with this. That's my background. And if you see books, I mean, I've got 10,000 books in my house. I've always been an avid writer and an avid reader. I have another book coming out probably near the end of 2027, which has nothing to do with this particular book, but it's the direction that I've wanted to go. And a lot of people don't know that part of the story. You know, another part of the story is people, ask me, how old was she when she passed away? She was 58. She was only 58, which is really statistically right in the sweet spot of the average of somebody who's been drinking since they've been in their teenage years. And, I've talked to some people that knew her when she was younger. I mean, she drank in high school. I mean, she had some pretty crazy times. I've talked about some of her trauma. I mean, her parents sent her away when she was 16 because she had a relationship with an older boy who was 19. And they were getting too serious, and they broke up that relationship and sent her to an all-girls school about 500 miles north. And I think this was kind of the basis and the origins of a lot of her emotional problems. I think it was a big part of it, unfortunately. I think she felt rejected from her family, and I think these are wounds and things that never really healed with her. I mean, she was crying on my chest 15 years later when I met her. I met her when she was 30, and it's sad. I don't think she ever got over it. Eventually she did through, I think, counseling and rehabs, but it was a big part of what made her up. I think she always felt rejected from her family, and she had, issues with both her parents. Really, the last thing I want to say is, I'm not going to be doing this forever. I mean, eventually I'm going to be shifting over to my other book, which is a totally different story. It has nothing to do with this one. But, while I do this, I'm in the midst of trying to get a TEDx talk. I really want to get, on that big stage. I think there's some important things that need to change about alcohol use disorder, the education, and, how society views this disease. That's a big issue. That's a big issue and a big platform of this page. I can obviously attest to it that there's a whole lot of ignorance out there by just the constant barrage of really ridiculous comments that I get on my page all the time. The vast majority of people actually understand, and of course it attracts families and people who are going through this. It's a big part of it. It's a big part of the reason why I do this. And I know from the DMs and from my own clientele off of this page and YouTube and Facebook that it's helped thousands of people. I know Amanda would be proud at the work that we're doing here in her name, because it's really to honor her, a big part of it. Again, real quick, when you're ready to work, get to work. Work with me. Set up a breakthrough call. It takes about 45 minutes. We're going to do a deep dive into what's going on with you and your family. The call is free. The course is not, but it's cheaper than the money that you're already spending on the alcohol on a monthly basis, guaranteed. You want to change your life? Set up a call. And of course, the memoir, Amanda, A Cautionary Tale of Alcoholism. You can find it in the link tree on my page. It's also available at the international link. Anywhere in the world you can purchase this. Also, it's available on Amazon. The ebook, of course, is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and the Apple website. Thanks for listening.